Well, hello there, and welcome to the Travel Marketeering Saturday session. It is, what is it, the 26th of April, 2025. And I am your host, Joshua Harrell. Very happy to be here with you doing some travel marketeering. Now, in today's session, I am going to talk about using content pillars to really transform your travel agency marketing. And I'm going to talk about this because over and over again, I hear people say, "Oh, I don't have time to post. I don't have time to write a blog. I don't have time to take pictures when I'm traveling or take pictures in my house to evoke the imagination around traveling. I just don't have time." And essentially, it comes down to just really spinning your wheels on what to post. And the other thing that I think I can dispel right at the top is there is no magical time to post. There is no magical content that is going to make you go viral. The key is always consistency. And we talk about that a lot here on the Travel Marketeering Saturday sessions. So I hope you are ready to tuck in and explore this topic with me today. I have some good information, some of the logical steps to get there to build your content pillars. What are content pillars, right? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the what, the how, the why, all that good stuff. We're gonna talk about all that. Now, if you are joining me live, please drop down in the comments wherever you're watching, because right now we're broadcasting worldwide around multiple platforms. So you're welcome to join me wherever you are, but I would love to hear from you. Tell me hey, tell me where you're from. Give me a TM. So in travel marketeering, something that kind of has evolved over time is when you're wanting to give someone kudos around their travel agency marketing, you give them a TM, or it's kind of more from there. It's a way to say hello. It's a way to say thank you. I don't know. Is it like a universal code? I don't know. Maybe we make it that. So drop a TM down in the comments wherever you're watching from. And if you are not able to join us live, or you got to cut off early because you got something going on this Saturday, then as always, you can watch this recording on our YouTube channel. Just search YouTube for World Via Travel Network and make sure you subscribe so you get notified whenever there is an upcoming show. Or you can watch loads of other content because it's not just travel marketeering and it's not just me, right? So before I get underway, I want to say if you are new, welcome. So glad that you've joined us. If you are not sure what travel marketeering is, it is the selling and the marketing and the selling of your travel business through systems. You are an entrepreneur. You cannot sit for hours looking at a blank canvas, choosing what colors you want to paint with, and have an abstract piece of art. Abstract does not work when marketing and selling your products and services within your travel agency. You got to have some systems in place so they can run without you. And also, you can tweak them. What works, you want to turn the volume up on that. What doesn't work, you want to maybe adjust it or turn the volume down on. So, systems you can adjust. Art is art, and you got to respect the art. Now, of course, there's a little bit of art and a little bit of intuition in marketing and building your brand. So that's still there, but we try to focus everything on science and our science systems. Yeah, if you're looking for me for science, that's not going to happen. That is, I failed. I want to say I failed French 1 and all of my science classes, and somehow I was able to scrape by. Thank goodness for that because I get to be here and do this with you. So, I did see we got a maybe a 1 or 2 chat in there so far. Keisha has joined us, I think she's doing a a gratitude TM. That can be the symbol for TM if we want to, Keisha. And Keisha is joining us from Newark, New Jersey. Love Newark. In fact, I lived there. Well, part time, I lived there on and off, just off Broad Street, Brick City in the house. I love it. Thank you, Keisha, for joining us. And throughout the show, if you have any questions, let's use this as time where you can get some one-to-one consulting on your travel marketeering, your brand. Ask your questions because I guarantee you, either people who are watching it on demand or people who are watching it live will be inspired by your questions. You might be asking questions that they don't even know that they want to ask, or you could be asking a question that makes them think about something that they hadn't thought about before. So feel free to ask questions. But without the questions, I definitely can keep you this whole time because I've got good stuff to share. All right. Now, let me get like all tucked in here. Okay, I am in my chair. Now, if you want to know a little bit about me, and why I love to speak about travel marketeering. I joined travel in 2017 after a career in cosmetics, in particular working for a brand called Bare Minerals. And if you know Bare Minerals, there was a time when no one knew about Bare Minerals. That was in the 70s through the 80s through the 90s and mid 90s. We had a chance to go on QVC and that changed our trajectory. And at one point, we became the number one beauty brand on QVC. We opened stores all across the country, then the world. We had an infomercial. It was an amazing experience. But at the end of the day, even though the business had started in the 70s, the brand that people know today really came from a place of almost a startup. It was a imagining of the business. Oh, I just lost my Ooh, hold on, stand by, guys. A little technical difficulty there. Anyway, it was a reimagining of the brand and the products, and from there, got to see overnight almost the brand became I would say the brand became a success before the business became a success, but that's another story in and of itself. Then I ended up going into multiple businesses. I became an entrepreneur and I fell in love with being an entrepreneur. I loved, loved, loved it. And I made all the mistakes in the world. I made all the mistakes. I decided that I was going to do, I was gonna have a clothing business. I was gonna have a skincare line. I was gonna have a jewelry line. I was gonna have a music career. I was gonna do all these things, and I was gonna do them all at once because that said that was that was going that was definitely gonna be a success if I did them all at once. I don't know why that was, but I found my way through it, ended up doing a lot of marketing consulting, and then happened upon a job help wanted posting, in the newspaper. No, it wasn't in the newspaper, but I applied to a job with a travel agency, and that's where my journey today has I've been able to pull all those past experiences and then get to work with thousands of travelpreneurs, entrepreneurs who sell travel, thousands of travelpreneurs, and be a part of their journey from getting started, not knowing anything about the travel business, to building a brand, growing that brand, and really the brand emerges for many, and then when they reach that level of success, they are now full-time, they might even be taking on, associate agents or sub-agents, watching them figure out, "What's the next step? How do I take what I'm doing and work smarter, not harder, and grow my success to wherever I want it to go?" So it's been a fantastic journey, and what you get with me is exactly what you see. You get someone who wants to help you succeed in your travel business and share all the stories, all the experiences that I have learned along the way. And during these sessions, what you're going to find is we have an amazing community of travel marketeers. Sorry, I was about to say travelpreneurs who are travel marketeers who love to share, love to ask questions. Some have even brought some projects to the table, which have been fantastic. So that's what this group is all about: the sharing, the sharing, the sharing, and the growing, the growing, the growing. And I'd also like to invite you, if you have not yet done it, to join our Travel Marketeers private Facebook group. Here is a group where you can share ideas. You can ask questions. We've had members ask questions about different tools that they might use to market their business. Also, we've had people share, "Hey, here's where I'm going with my logo. What do you guys think?" And what I have found is a very supportive community who does want to help. So please, please, please join if you haven't yet. Yet, excuse me. So go to Facebook and search Travel Marketeers, not Travel Marketeering, because there is a Facebook page for that, which is just a public page about travel marketeering. Travel Marketeers is our private Facebook group, so apply and we'll get you in there as soon as possible. But now, without further ado, let me. Oop, that's me. Joshua Harrell, and yeah, see, I'm clicking around here and trying to get around to new screen. All right, and Erica from Worldvia has joined us, which she does a lot of Saturdays, which I really appreciate. She is saying, "Happy Saturday, Marketeers TM." And if you don't know Erica, she is our Director of Member Development over at World Via Travel Network, a brilliant mind in travel, and one of our mega content creators within our network. Now, I am so lucky because I get to work with Erica all week long. And then on the weekends, she just joins me. She just puts me on in the background while she's making coffee, playing with Penny. I don't know. She's just there having fun and also contributes to our sessions. So I am so glad that you're joining us, Erica. And everybody, give her a shout out whenever you get a chance. Give Erica a shout out. All right, now I need to find. I lost my my slide deck. That's not very fun. Hold on a second. This is live. It's not recorded. All right, stand by. It's just taking a moment to load, and we will get this all in here. Um, you know what? It's so much fun when you are doing this. There we go. All right. All right. Lise said, "Whoo, Erica. Good to see you, Lise. How are you?" Thank you. And Robin said, "Thank you, Erica." I thank you too, Erica. And Robert is joining us and said, "Hey, hi, Josh and Erica. TM back at you, Robert. Glad to see you. I'm glad you guys filled in right when I was having some technical difficulties. That makes me happy. All right, Keisha's got a great question. I'm coming back to you, Keisha, because you got a good question. If you're on YouTube, you already see her question, and she's talking about content and images, and I want to talk about that because you have a very good point. All right, let us get started. Let's talk about content pillars. All right, there we go. I think I am on there. All right, so let's talk about content pillars. Uh, we're going in this session. We are going to define what content pillars are and how you can leverage them to in it basically create a streamlined content process and to better engage your audience, and more importantly to talk about how having content pillars will make it easier for you to create that content, because the number one reason why you stall with creating content is you don't know where you want to go or where you need to go. And when you're trying to make those decisions, you are doing them most of the time, you're doing them on the fly when you're in a content creating moment. And that sometimes it's not there's nothing wrong with it, it just isn't the smartest way that you could be working. So that's why we're gonna talk about content pillars today and how it really will transform your marketing. Okay, so I'm having to look at my little screen over here, so, I hope you don't mind me, shooting my eyes around, but, let's talk about, the content pillars and structuring your agency's marketing. So the core things, an advisor might have topics centered around destination, travel styles, and or types of advice. Now, I'm gonna break this down for you. So, destinations, very easy. If the destination is the hook for your clients, then you want to lead with destination content. Here's an example. So, you might specialize in river cruising in Europe, okay? But you're gonna attract more bees with the honey that is the destination, and I'm gonna tell you that for a fact because most people are in terms of searching for a holiday or a vacation, they are searching for, "I want to go to Portugal," okay? Now, what I do in Portugal, I might not have an idea on, and I would say the majority of the people don't. They know that they want to go to Portugal. There might be one thing that they know they want to do, but how they experience it, not as common. And we all know that such a small percentage of the world cruise and use cruise for vacations. So, wouldn't that tell you? We know that they travel, but wouldn't that tell you that cruise is not the number one thing that they're searching for? It's the destination that they'd be searching for, okay? Now that's a little different if you're doing Caribbean cruises. Destination isn't as intense or as important in those decisions. I don't love that, but there is a heck of a lot of cruisers who cruise to the Caribbean, and some of them don't even get off in the ports. They enjoy the experience of being on an ocean cruise. Okay, so I'm just separating those 2 things out. So if I am focused on European river cruises, then I'm going to have a core theme that is destinations. And it could be destinations, maybe there's a group of 3 to 5 destinations that are truly core destinations. Almost every river cruise I sell or want to sell has to do with these destinations. So, that destination is going to be a core theme for me, and from there, I can create a lot of content just based on deciding which destinations I'm gonna focus on. So another core theme would be travel styles. So let's say I do want to focus on river cruises, um, I can create a core theme around river cruises and teach people about river cruising. I could be known as the advocate of, and that's not really a strong marketing term, but I could be the guru of river cruises within my network of influence, right? Uh, so I would have content about river cruising because, again, going back to what I just said, I know that people don't think of cruise first. There's so much opportunity to teach people how wonderful it is to cruise, and I'm going to separate it into ocean cruise and river cruise. It's very, very different styles of cruising, but both can use your advocacy as a travelpreneur and advisor to make sure that people understand what it is. And some people have heard of river cruising, but they don't actually know what it's like and how different it is from ocean cruising. So there's a lot of stories to be told around just that core theme of river cruise. And what about types of advice? So types of advice, you could have advice around traveling with family, and maybe that's your thing. You're known as that person who is always putting together great advice on how to travel with toddlers, how to travel with teenagers, how to put together, or how to keep your sanity while traveling with multiple family members. I mean, I'm really leaning in hard on that. But what about travel with special need with people with special needs? That is something that a lot of people who are in a situation where they're now needing to think about, maybe it's not always been a part of their life, but they're now needing to think about traveling with somebody with special needs to make sure it's enjoyable for everyone. That is great. That's great advice. That you, if that is your, is that a, if that's a part of who you are and how you show up in the world, that could be advice that you are constantly providing tips and information on, and that becomes how you are the expert in your space. Okay, and there could be other advice too. What I gave you was very, very specific, but it could be how to. I always hit Disney because it's so specific, but it could be how to plan your day as the leader of the pack, your family, and how to get them through a day at a theme park. Okay, and while that could be one story, right? I bet you could break it down into multiple stories. It's just really the on the ground guide to traveling with your family, right? That could be a hug. But these topics are, you want to designate them for your whatever you are focused on, whatever your niche is, whatever you want to sell, and things that you are passionate about. Because people can tell right away when you are creating content, whether it is something that you're just passing on the information, or you actually believe in it and you're passionate about it. You always want to make sure that your passion comes through. And the reason why you're defining this is, so when you look at an opportunity to create content, or you're planning, maybe you are in a destination and you want to create content, you know what these core themes are. So how much content are you going to create around the destination? How much are you going to create around the travel style? And how much you might create around the advice? Now, these aren't the only themes, but this, as an advisor and agency owner, these fit a lot of situations. So these are your pillars. What destination or destinations are you going to be about? And you define those, and those become your pillars. Now, from those pillars, then you're going to use multiple formats. So you can create blogs, which why do we create blogs? Because beyond the about page, beyond the services page on your website, beyond the promotional page on your website, your blog is where you get to show the world your expertise. And it's also where you get to expand your footprint on your website. Now, why is that important? Because the more pages you have on your website that signal your expertise, it increases your discoverability through search engines and AI bots that are crawling your website. It needs content. Those mechanisms, they need content to consume. You're creating content, expanding the footprint, and you're also creating ways for people to come to your website through your social posts, right? If you write a blog about how to make sure you go to a Disney theme park and are able to do a rope drop and fireworks without anybody getting cranky. Hoo-hoo! Yeah, that that's something. So you have that article, and then you post it out on social media. You create a video, and it really adds to this multidimensional approach. Where, as in the past, people would just create a blog and hope somebody would find it. Now you have so many outlets through social media, through video content, that you can say, "Hey, if you don't want it," like, you could make an ugly face. You could be like, "Grr," and then you could say, "Hey, if you want to go to the Magic Kingdom and not have this face, go check out my blog that's about XYZ," right? About how to not be cranky at the end of the day. I'm riffing in real time here, but trying to show you how you can connect the dots. That my one pillar about my advice, the thing that I am my tips that I want to make sure that I'm delivering on a consistent basis, that advice then trickles down to a blog article, a video, a social media post. It can even go out. That blog post can go out in some form as an email in your email newsletter. So one core theme, multiple formats, and then from these pillars, you create topic clusters. Ooh, doesn't that sound like a treat? A topic cluster. So, a topic cluster is how you take those pillars and then you create a nice little a circle of support for that topic. So, from a topic cluster would really be taking the core theme, and that could be, sorry, Paris, right? It could be a destination focus and be about Paris, and then you create these clusters of content of, support something to support, Paris. So that could be, how to eat well in Paris, how to eat on a budget in Paris, uh, what are must see sites? Okay, wow, must see sites. How much can I come up with for Paris with must see sites as a topic cluster? So you see how we're saying really focused on that pillar, and then we break it out into clusters, and now we really get to expand our reach and the things that we can talk about. So think about it this way. You might say, "Hey, I focus on France, trips to France," right? Well, you probably could sit for hours thinking about what the very next article will be. However, if you have these topic clusters that you've already defined, you could take France, break down different areas in France, and apply these topic clusters to each one. Now, you might even have some content that already fits some of these clusters. From there, you take an inventory. What do I already have? What is missing? And now you have a very focused plan of attack. You are now going to fill your clusters and expand your reach even further. So not only essentially I'm going to say I'd start with creating blogs around around your topic clusters, because that's going to expand that footprint on the web. It's going to it's going to be a home base for wherever you might send people from elsewhere, right? You're going to be able to send them to this blog article to read more. From that blog article, within the blog, you can link it to other blogs that you've done that are still about France, right? It doesn't have to be about the must see things. You could now send them over to a food article if food is a part of your clusters. So there's a way to link all these clusters within that core theme. It's a beautiful thing. So I know it might sound a little bit like, "Oh my gosh, now I've still gotta sit down and come up with a strategy." But believe me, it's worth it. So, why content pillars matter, got these listed for you. So that strategic focus, build authority in specific areas instead of creating scattered content. Scattered content, have you done it? Are you somebody who has scattered content on your social media feed? Say yes or no in the comments right now. I'd like to hear it, right? Because many of us either it's feast or famine. It's a famine because just can't be bothered with it. We don't know how to get started. We don't know what might want to communicate about, so we're not doing anything, or all of a sudden we slam the content out. Maybe we got inspired to create content, or we're traveling and then we're creating content. But it's such a hodgepodge of content that is all over the place. And then when you're done with that trip, then you go dry, and then you failed on consistency. So having that strategic focus will make you feel like you're actually putting a little money in the bank of content, okay? And you're investing it for a future return, okay? So that's why we do it. Now I hear there's some chat, so I want to pop over there real quick here. Um let's see. So okay, hold on. Wow, there's a lot. I didn't hear all the dings here. Hey, Latanya said, hello, good to see you. Uh, and Lee said, here for some marketeering. And yes, she acknowledged that Erica is with a C. And Erica said, hi all. And she is making afternoon coffee and cuddling with her dog Penny. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So I did see. Uh, for the content creating, feeling a little bit all scattered with the content. Robin said somewhat, and let's see. Keisha said, I had a hard time starting. I bet everyone on this call right now would say a big TM to that, because I don't know anybody who found it easy to get started. And that's okay, right? It's okay to have a hard time getting started creating content. But if you can focus, if you can take out a piece of paper right now and let's get focused. What are your core themes? What are your pillars going to be? Just write them down. We can change them as we go along, but I'm just saying, just write them down. What do you think they are right now? And let's get through this session and see if you still feel the same when we get done. Okay? So, strategic focus. Why are you creating content within these specific areas? Because you are building this authority in specific areas. Be known for travel and be known for the travel you want to sell. Okay. Uh, why content matters: efficient content creation, ability to plan calendars and repurpose material with your established themes. This is so critical when you are growing your social following, or your email list. You're creating the best content you can create at that moment in time, and you have probably the lowest your audience will ever be at the time that that is published. So you're going to say, "Oh, well, it's already been out. I've already done it. I've already created that content. I can't I can't share it again because the 3 people that followed me at the time already saw it. That is a bunch of hogwash. Think about all the people you follow on social media who you see some of the same content again, or even what I've seen now on, TikTok in particular. I've noticed people sharing, a post that they had a few years ago that was their most viewed post, and so they're sharing it again. Why are they doing that? They're not doing that to have a victory lap. They're doing that because they have more followers now than they did a few years ago, and they wanna make sure you see the thing that so many people loved at that time. So it is okay to repurpose the content. Now, do you want to repurpose the same post week after week? No, you don't want to do that, but you also don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can, as long as this piece of content is good, you can maybe just change up some of the description in your social post. Maybe change a photo. It's the same idea, but you've made it a little different. And I wonder if you see more engagement or less engagement when you do that. You don't know until you try it. So, not only does having your content pillars give you that focus, it aids in efficient content creation because you know what you need to create, right? You are very, very purposeful about what you wanna create, but you're able to plan out a content calendar based on your themes to make sure that you get some variety week after week, month after month, and then when you're planning that calendar, you now know, "Hey, I want to put a post that represents this theme, this topic cluster I'm gonna do a post. And you know what? The best one, I think this is a chance for me to repurpose some of my evergreen content, the content that doesn't expire, that doesn't get old. And you can plan that out on a calendar. It just gives you a structure that I promise you, it may seem hard to get started, but once you do, you're gonna be able to spend 2 hours on a Sunday before the week gets started and plot your course. And not only can you plot your course, but then you can on the next month, you can say, "Well, let me look back at a nice full month of content that was published on my blog, on videos like YouTube, and on social media platforms," right? I can look back and see what worked, what what did I like, what did I not like after it went live, and how can that influence what you create in the next month? It is a much more strategic and organized way to plan your content. Now, adding to this, by building these topic clusters, and I'm going to talk about building the topic clusters in a moment. But when you build these topic clusters and you can interlink those relevant articles, it does help you boost in search engine rankings. Okay, so think about it this way: you are, like I said, expanding your footprint, but you're creating content that does work within a theme. So if I'm reading this article about must-see destinations in France, and it's a specific destination now. Well, no, you know what? Let me back it up. Say you do a listicle, the top 10 destinations that stops you must have on your next uh, trip to France. Okay. Uh, that is an article, right? And that's pretty catching, right? I want information super fast. So I create this thing, right? And then I read about one of your number three is a particular place in France. Well, if you have an article about that more detailed, explanation of that destination, and maybe even another article about restaurants, or food experiences that you should have in this destination, then when I'm reading your listicle, I click on that specific number 3, that destination number 3, and then you send me off to an article just about that destination, and then from that destination, I see within the article that there's hyperlinks to other articles about places to eat, things to do with the kids, whatever it might be for you. You've now made an entry point from, say, a search engine for somebody looking for the things to do in France. Okay. You've now signaled to Google that not only do you have that article that people like, but when they get to your website, they stay for a good amount of time. Okay. Google is all about their user's experience. if somebody searches on Google and gets an answer and then hangs out on that website consuming more pages, then Google says, well, when somebody asks this question and I send them to this site, this page on this site, they seem to like that information and stick around. I'm gonna put this page as I'm gonna rank that higher. I'm gonna get that in front of more people because I'm Google and I want my users to have the best experience possible. And what you've done is create a great experience for their users and they'll reward you for it. Now, it's a long game. This is not a short game, right? But think about it. If you're creating all this content, then you have content for your social media. So your social media accounts are alive and vibrant, signaling what you sell, right? And really expressing your authority. That is helping everything, even if it's going to take a little bit longer for Google to clue in on that. But it's all this beautiful system, this content strategy, content system that every business needs, and every business that does it is winning. And I'm gonna say they're winning, and you know it too, because you follow people on social media that you like their content. It might not have anything to do with travel. This is not travel specific. This is just good marketing, okay? But you follow other people and you're like, "Oh, this is a person I get, entrepreneurial inspiration," or, this is an account that I follow because I find their content really funny." Well, you know why you can say that? Is because they consistently deliver content and a content style that you like. And I guarantee you, they're following some kind of a structure in the creation of their content. I'm gonna pop over. I heard some, uh I heard some I'm sorry, it's so bad for me to do this, like, because I get to see what people are saying, before I get to, say it. Let's see, Robert said, "TM, still struggling and learning every day." That was based on, Keisha saying that, she had a hard time starting, Connie, love this. Connie said, "It usually takes someone multiple times of seeing the same thing to really pay attention to it and take action." Absolutely. I think there was a study, and Erica, I feel like we've talked about this before, if you know what it is, but I feel like I saw there's a study that's been quoted several times, and it's essentially an average human needs to see something 7 times before they get it. 7 times before they get it. So this could be watching a new television program. This could be or contacting a travel advisor, right? They need to see something 7 times in various different formats before it triggers for them. And we know this works because there's so many of these big brands that we see a billboard for. We see, there's a Spotify ad for them. There's an Instagram gram ad for them, or we see them on Good Morning America, right? Like we're seeing them in so many places. And at the end of the day, it has been a few times, unless we're so primed and ready for more content from Gwen Stefani, right? And then Gwen Stefani drops a new album, and then we're just like, ah, I'm not a huge fan. I am a fan, but I'm not that huge. But I'm just saying, somebody like that, right? Those people we're acting on because we're so hungry for that content. But for the most part, we're not. I'm not excited about the new thing that's coming out at Target. But if I see something 7 times about this new thing that's launching at Target, I guarantee next time I see Erica at the water cooler, I'm like, "Hey, Erica, did you know that, that new pineapple line has launched at Target?" And she's like, "You know what? You're the 7th person that said something about it." No, I'm just kidding. No, it does take a good amount of time, and sometimes it's not just the same message. Like, join me for my group cruise on the Aqua in August, right? That's the main headline, right? That's the main headline. But I need to hear that in different ways before I really get, oh, there's gonna be this cool experience on the Aqua in August with Erica, with Laura. Sorry, that was a shameless plug for Erica and Laura's Quest with Us. That's happening on Norwegian Cruise Line's Aqua in August. You can find out more about that if you're a member of our network. You can find out more about that on World Via Pro, but check it out. What I just did there could have been one of the 7 times that you heard about that. You might have heard about it in an email, you might have heard it on a social post, you might have heard about it on our YouTube channel, and now you just heard me talk about it. Hey, I'm part of the 7 times, right? So, yeah, multiple times. And Erica on the topic of repurposing your evergreen content. She said, I love cleaning your content closet. You're not sometimes when you're cleaning the closet, you find a gem that you didn't even remember you had, right? That's a pretty big deal. But yeah, you put in the work. It doesn't need to die. There are plenty of ways to repurpose content, and it could be what we've done on worldviatravelnetwork.com. We have a blog there. There are blogs. We've been writing blogs since 2018, or blog articles since 2018. There are articles from 2018 that people still land on when they're searching for different topics about running their travel business. Now, sometimes we have to go in and do a quick cleanup of some of that content. But for the most part, that content right there can also spark more content within within a content cluster. It might create a new content cluster, and then from there, it might create multiple formats of content. So, yeah, it's once you start, it really does become something that moves in multiple directions and ultimately will give you the result of being the trusted authority in your space and the number one person, hands down, to go to when you are looking for what it is that you sell in particular. Okay. Let's see. Keisha said, this is so helpful and I am doing now. I'm creating now. Erica said, agreed. For us, a small business owners 7 times gives you some brand recognition. And I love that you said it that way, Erica, uh, because that brand recognition is one thing, right? So, talking about your brand 7 times lands maybe the name of your company. Beyond that, you have to continually signal who you are through your content creation without getting boring, right? I mean, how many times can you post your logo as a social post? That gets boring, right? One time, I've got a new logo. One time, that's great. Beyond that, bring that logo to life throughout your content and throughout your content journey. And it can be a beautiful thing. But if you think about 7 times being the magic number you need to hit when you're creating a piece of content or telling a story that needs to land, what would you do? How would you get those 7 pieces of content to support whatever it is you're doing? Um, yeah, I mean, that's you got what would you do, right? Well, I'd start with my basic formats, right? I need to do a blog post. I need to do an email. I need to do a social post. Okay. Now, could I do one more of each of those that's a little bit different, a different take on the story? That now gives me 6. What could be my 7th? Maybe that's a phone call where you leave a voicemail about something. I don't know. I'm just riffing here, but I'm just saying if you had to get to 7, it takes maybe, getting that one social asset that a supplier gives you in their media library. So they've got that one post ready for you to go, and they've got the copy to go in the post. So you're like, "I'm ready to go," but you need to expand that. And that's where I mean, and we can talk about it, but that's where I love using an AI tool. Like we're about to launch our Avia, and some of our members have been able to test it. And it's using all this different AI information, but it's able to generate. You could say, "Hey, take this copy, the words that sell, the words that I have for this social post, and give me 7 different social posts that is telling the same story," right? That's a very bad prompt for AI, but I'm just saying it will quickly give you 7 posts. And you might tweak them a little bit, or you might they might be fine as is, but you now have 7 posts that took you maybe less than 5 minutes from the time you got it from the supplier's website, you put it into Avia and or ChatGPT, whatever you use, Perplexity, whatever you use. Um, Now you've got 7 social posts. Well, that was so easy, 5 minutes to do that. Let me take this whole thread and say, "Hey, can you create 3 different emails that encourages people to contact me about traveling on this group sailing on the Aqua in August?" Now I have 3 emails. You with under 30 minutes, you have now created 10 pieces of content, and we haven't even gotten to the video. What would Avia or ChatGPT or Perplexity do if you had all that information? You said, "Create 3 2-minute video scripts for me that helps me tell this story." You see what I'm doing here? I'm saying this is super easy because I've gotten very, very focused and I'm embracing the rule of 7, the power of 7. Now, Robin, who I know is a member of World Via Travel Network, says, "Do you have content that we can use?" Absolutely. Absolutely. If you haven't, if you haven't signed up for Email Plus, our email broadcast system, do that every month. There's 5 email newsletter templates that are based on different personas, different types of travel personas. So you can take those as is. You can, and they're already loaded up as emails, so you can tweak the email a little bit and send it out. You can even grab them, maybe put it into Avia or another AI tool, and get it to create more content for you based on that story. But yes, we do have that content. However, even you using the content that we've created, you want to know what your core themes are and your topic clusters are, because that's going to be how you decipher which pieces of content that we've provided are most useful most useful to you, right? So it still comes back to having these content pillars and making sure that you are staying focused, right? All right, so just kind of getting through the why content pillars matter. And this is how I do pretty much everything. I get into it and I'm like, I'm going to give you the whole story before I unpack the wonderful presentation. But I hope you're having a good time. I mean, it's a Saturday and we're doing some good work here. So, let's have a good time with it. So, number 4 in the why content pillar matters or pillars matter is that audience connection. The more content you're creating, and you're going to increase engagement, you're going to build that trust, and you're going to nurture leads with that targeted content. So think about it this way, and I'm bouncing around between blogs, emails, videos, social posts, and that to me, in my mind, they all kind of flow. It's a part of the stream, right? It's the magic of the stream here. So I'm constantly moving back and forth because they all serve each other. They're all they have very similar purposes. But somebody who is following you on a social media account, you are just they did minimal effort to say, "I'm going to follow you." Um, so ultimately, that's just narrowing down the much bigger audience on that social platform. But I still would consider them a lead. They're just really far down on their temperature. They're not a hot lead. They're not a warm lead. They're not a cold lead, but they're not a frozen lead. They're between frozen and cold. Okay. So creating content that is making it easy for them to understand what you do, who you are, and how you can help them. They can start to move from that chilly spot into warmer temperatures because you're nurturing them. Now, when you're using email, you're doing the same thing, but those people have now taken an extra step to get closer to you. So throughout your content creation process, you're using your content calendar and mapping out all of that. Uh, Ultimately, you're still taking different temperatures of different leads with different temperatures, and you're constantly trying to make them hot leads. Let's all that should be our focus as travel marketeers. We just want hot leads. Okay. Anyway, yeah. And about the engagement thing, I've said this before, so if you were here for Travel Marketeer Camp or, for other Saturday sessions, I I don't want you to underestimate the power of the lurker, and the lurker is someone who does not heart your posts, does not thumbs up your post, does not, even comment on your posts, but they are out there, and some of these algorithms on these different platforms are presenting you to people who you would have never connected with, you just your paths would have never crossed, but they're out there, and that's happening more and more, and I just don't want you to give up because you're not getting the hearts and you're not getting the thumbs up. They're out there, and the moment you go quiet, well, actually, before you go quiet, just that whole kind of surrendering and giving up, you're missing an opportunity to convert some of these people into some of these unknown people into people who are known to you, into followers, or into people who will go to your website because you've given them a reason to go there. So don't that you will get engagement. It might not be in the form that you're expecting. It might not be in the form of a thumbs up, a like, a follow. It might not be that way, but they're out there. So give yourself a chance to succeed and be consistent and create content. Okay. Brand consistency. Reinforce your brand identity and messaging across multiple modes and channels. We've been talking about it. Just you've got to show up, and you've got to show up as your brand. Um, I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but the if you've ever followed somebody, and it could be it could not be a brand, it could be just another human that you love and adore or you find intriguing. Um, we've now been on social media for a while, so some of us have been connected with people for years and years and years on social media. And as humans, we evolve, we grow, we find new things interesting. But I feel like this is a common situation that we can all relate to, that somebody is going through, it could be a crisis, it could be something that's made them terribly sad, or it could be something that they're just elated and, infatuated with at the moment. It actually could be another human being that somebody's infatuated with, because I have followed people that just fall in love with somebody, and you watch this, like, love story unfold, and then, unfortunately, sometimes it does end in tears, and then that is also on social media. Now, the reason why I'm using that, and that please don't take me to be a cold person because I said that. It's just we're humans, and that happens, right? But that kind of arc where somebody goes from nowhere and they're just all loved up and they're posting love and it's rainbows and flowers and unicorns, and then all of a sudden it's dark clouds and flying monkeys and poison. Not poison, that would be bad. But I'm just saying, like watching that arc, that is an example of not being consistent as a brand. Humans, we get it. But if AT&T went through that kind of a storyline within a year, within 2 years, what do you think that would do for you if you were a customer of AT&T, or if you could be potentially be a customer of theirs? You'd be like, "I don't know who this person is. They're kinda all over the place. I don't know who this brand is. They're all over the place." So whatever you bring to your blog, to your website, your blog, your social media, to your podcast that you might have, whatever you have, show up as your brand every single time. Even if you're using somebody else's content, even if you're using an image from that Globus has of gosh, what I can't think of something like Tuscany or something, right? So even if you're using something of theirs, make sure in the copy that you put in the post that you're infusing your brand, your words. So it is very clear that even though I'm looking at a picture, I'm looking at a video, I'm connecting with your brand. And that is something that doesn't cost anything. It just costs your focus and your intention, right? So, oh, you know what, Lise? Thank you. Lise has given us something that if you have not been following this, so this happened. Lisa, it was about this is a few months ago. So all of a sudden, Duolingo starts talking about their mascot dying, and everything gets real dark and crazy. And the owl is green, I believe he's green, and he's just a cute owl. I've I've seen him on my app forever. He just does little owl things. Just a cute owl. Now, I don't think about him. He is not why I have the app, but and I do have the app, but here I do know who this owl is. Well, all of a sudden, people who didn't even know who Duolingo was found out that this brand has killed its mascot, and all this content came up, and then other people were joking around this content, and it just and creating more content around it. What a great news story! What a quirky news story that really does fit this quirky brand, that's Duolingo. Now, in their instance, it put the name of their company on the mouths of in the mouths of so many people who would never ever think about it. It ended up on talk shows, and they earned that media. They earned it. They didn't pay for it. I mean, I'm sure they paid for some things that they might have done with it to promote that story, but it was so shocking and out of character and just bizarre that so many people were talking about it. In fact, we're talking about it right now because it happened, right? So, it was a stunt and it worked. But if you look at that, me being a user of Duolingo, that was not consistent for the brand. That signaled something weird. It didn't make me wanna, like, close my account down, but it was something that felt very jarring. It did what they wanted it to do, but if you look at that, that really did interrupt the timeline, didn't it? It made you think, "What's going on here?" You did think about the brand. Now, did you wanna go download the app because the owl died? I I don't know, the jury's out on that, but I don't think that that was their intention in doing it, but Lise, thank you for bringing that up because that was an example of, uh that whole thing, like, just being inconsistent as a brand, it just throws you off. So, be consistent with the brand, and with a brand, remember, it's not just about logos, it's not just about colors, it's about the things that you do, the when you show who your brand is, not just tell who your brand is. And for many of you, where you are your brand, you showing up every day in the world is you bringing that brand to life. So the reason why I say that to you is don't disconnect from that. Your brand will evolve just as you will evolve as a human, and that's okay. But if you know exactly who you are as a brand, you do make different decisions. And as long as you've got the guardrails up, you can show up consistently as your brand. Now, I want to pop over to my slides here. Um, whew, I hope you guys are having fun. All right, so let's talk about identifying your content pillars, okay? So this sounds hard, and I don't want you to think it's hard. It's not hard. It just is you sitting down right now and doing some things or marking time off on your calendar to do these things. So let's talk about this. So refine your selection. Choose 3 to 5 pillars that connect expertise with your audience interests. Now, if you don't have an audience, think about who you want your audience to be, who you want your customers to be. So you're connecting your expertise with what that audience would be interested in. Now, I say 3 to 5 here as far as your content pillars. Remember, these are more the macro level pillars. Okay, so France. destinations in France could be one of those pillars, and then you kind of support it with your content clusters. Uh, there's very mixed opinions on how many content pillars a brand should have, and the reason why that is some brands, depending on what the product is, there can be tons of those well, not tons. There could be 12 to 15 of those macro level themes, those your pillars. Think about a brand like, let's see, something that we use every day, something like Xfinity, the Comcast cable company, right? For them, there's the story of cable, right? And consistent connection, right? And then there's also the entertainment. There's family time around the TV. They've got internet. They've got telephones as well. So there's their pillars could span a wide grouping of topics. However, for a travel agency and a travel advisor, just over and over again, I see the 3 to 5 pillars working with so many different agents. And I would encourage everybody, 3 is very easy, 5 is not that hard. But I feel like all of you watching this right now could easily come up with 3 to 5 pillars that will allow you to signal what you sell and also your expertise. Okay. So jot that down. If you can right now, if you know what they are, jot that down. Or just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and start to work to fill those up. Now, how to get into this, research industry trends. So identify emerging destinations, style of travel, and concerns. And by concerns, it doesn't have to be like the trip goes wrong, but what are the needs of your customers? What is it that what is the pain that what is the pain point that you solve? What are you the solution for? Okay. Um, Now identifying that will help you figure out what might be in their world, what might be concerning them, what might they have on their mind when it comes to finding you, finding your content and consuming that content and ultimately taking action and becoming a hot lead. Okay? So, how can you research industry trends? I highly suggest just doing searches. Search for things that you if someone said, "Okay, Lise, I need you to go to Google and search what you think your customers or future customers would be searching for, and and what they would be searching so they could find you." Now, I would assume that you're not going to be found that way. Right now. I would say most people are not because maybe they haven't had this focus before, but maybe you have, and kudos to you. But I'm just saying, Lise, if you did that right now, what what would you type in? And now Lise is a phenomenal marketer, so I'm gonna say I feel like she probably will search she'd search well in this, she'd perform well in this. But many people, oops, I just lost my screen there. Many people type in they search differently when they're trying to research ideas for their business. They search with knowledge about their business that their future clients wouldn't even have. So, as you're typing that in, as you're trying to get ideas of what people would search for, really challenge yourself. Is this something that a random person out in the world that could be my future client uh, would actually type in? Just just be aware of that, cognizant of that, and then look at what comes up in that search. Now, you're not doing a search to see where you rank in this. You're doing a search to see what is coming up when somebody searches for that thing, that topic that you have typed in, because that might give you some ideas on pillar content, or your content clusters. And I would scroll through the entire listing. I would look at, the top 3, those are called the, Olympic positions, the gold medal and bronze, position 1, 2, and 3. Um, look at those, and then look, even down at the very bottom of a search engine page where it says, "Here are similar search terms or search phrases." Sometimes those are gonna get you inspiration. So just be open. There's not a clear-cut way to you being able to get this answer. It really this is a research project. You're just open to ideas and seeing where the inspiration takes you, and jot things down. Make a just take a big piece of paper and just write a bunch of things down, and when you start to see these emerging ideas come out off the page, that's when you start refining that selection, narrowing it down to the 3 to 5. Let's see, Lee said, "I'm usually found by location or theme parks." So Lise is theme park focused and very near theme parks in that Orlando area. So yeah, so that's good. But if you were reaching, I don't know. I feel like there are some things that people would search for, that may want to go to a theme park, but they might be searching for because they're trying to figure out what's the best way to do, say, a family vacation at a theme park or whoever you serve. There's If you get in their head, what would they type and search? Somebody saying, I want to work with a travel agent that focuses on theme parks is somebody that's already primed and ready to go. They are looking for an answer that in terms of their need, it's imminent. Try to cool it off a little bit and see what somebody might be searching for in their exploration stage of trying to get some ideas together. I don't know. I know you can get some ideas, but again, it's a research project. Be open to ideas and see what comes up out of it. There is there is a process to doing this. It isn't a exact formula. So you're going to find inspiration, but even just you're going to find inspiration by doing your research, but even being open to this topic, I guarantee you're going to jot down stuff on your paper and then tonight, tomorrow, next week, you're gonna be somewhere and you're gonna say, "You know what? I'm gonna refine my content pillars. I'm gonna move that from a pillar to a content cluster because I think there's a pillar that's just screaming at me." You're going to think about your content creation in such a different way. All right. Analyze existing content, find themes that already resonate with your audience, and that's what I was saying that we do with our blog. It's been around for a few years, and there are articles that we see are growing in how they're being discovered. Uh, we also see where our customers are going to our blog to look for answers because they like that expertise. They like someone's take on something, so they want to research a topic there. So we see people return to our blog. So it isn't just an entry point for new customers, but it's become a valuable source to our customers and non-customers alike. So from there, we can say, "Oh wow, I this one blog article about a random topic has gotten more attention than a lot of the other ones." Maybe there's some more topics around there, or supporting topics that can circle around that piece of content. So look at what you've already got. If you don't have anything, then it's very easy to continue on. Understand your audience. Talked about this just a little bit. Identify their interests, pain points, and travel aspirations. So if you feel like you've got a good handle on your customers, and those of you who already have customers, you know the ones that you like, the ones that you want to work with. That digging into their personality traits and things that are in their lives does make it a lot easier to develop personas around the information that you know, and from there, really help to figure out which content might support finding more of them, more of the ones that you want. Let's see. Robin said, "How best to show your niche strongly, but also show that you're open to FITs that are not your niche." Um, okay, I like this, Robin. I almost want to pause for a second because and come back to this because I don't want to get derailed. I Robin, I think you are in a great place. So you're saying, how can I express my niche? But then also, let's talk about other things, okay? And FITs, for those of you who don't know, is I'm gonna I know there's several different definitions, but FIT, from my understanding, is fully independent travel. So it's not package. It might include different packages, but it is not a I'm gonna buy this package and this is the vacation. So it's customizing. Some of those customizations can be small things. Some of them can be massive things that can take months to put together. So there's a whole scale of that. So Robin, your question is a great question because I many travel advisors are thinking about that. I do FITs or I don't want to do FITs, right? Your customers or future customers don't even know what that is. They don't know the difference between FIT and package. Now, when you start to educate them, they will. So, in terms of you creating content, I would focus on the uh, the types of experiences, right? Whether it's packaged or it's not packaged, right? I'd focus on the types of experiences and create content all around that. Now, the difference, or what I would say highlight or ensure that you're incorporating in this, if you want to say that you're open to FITs, um, you can say stuff like, "I've got this uh, amazing itinerary for Tuscany." Okay, that includes this, this, and this. On day one, you're here. Day two, you're here. Blah 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 blah. Um, so you can say that, or I'm always happy to talk about something customizable just for you. Like, that could be like a little sign off that you could put in. Or you can highlight an FIT you put together for a client and say, I got to work with this amazing couple. They da 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 da, and we did this, this, and this, and da 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 da. Um, that is a way to signal the fact that you can create these custom itineraries. But for the most part, your clients don't know the difference. They do know the difference when you say, "Oh, yeah, I buy this trip, off the shelf from, Colette," or what have you. That's something that they hear more during the purchasing, or that process. But, from, absorbing your content, I would just focus on what they get out of working with you, what that experience, how they're going to be transformed by working with you. Lead with that, and then figure out where it makes sense to say, okay, this is a very set itinerary, but then I can also create something customizable for you. See, just a little thing to consider, but something that I think will remove some barriers that I hear from many agency owners and advisors who are creating content, that I don't want to signal that I do FITs if I don't, but I do want to signal FITs. It's something that your audience is not tuned into. And I don't think it should really be a part of that main message. Like, when they're consuming content from you, it should really be about how a holiday with you is going to transform them. That's where I would plant my flag in terms of that. Um, Wrapping up on this, just in defining your content pillars, or identifying your content pillars, define your niche, identify your specialized destinations and travel styles, and we've been talking about that all the way through. So that is an important part of defining these pillars. What is it that you want people uh, to get from consuming your content? What do you want to be known for? if you don't do theme parks, then you shouldn't put content about theme parks on your feed or in your blog. That doesn't make sense. Make sure the content fits what you want to sell. That makes sense. I hope so. I hope that makes sense. Oops. All right. Here's some content pillars that these are just samples, right? Do not take these as gospel and you need to go do them. I just wanted to give you some breakdowns here. So, if one of your pillars is sustainable travel, okay, sustainable travel, you could then break down into destination guides, eco-friendly tips, responsible news, green accommodations, right? So that's how this one pillar gets broken down. Luxury travel, exclusive experiences, fine dining guides, premium destinations, VIP services, right? So luxury travel, big pillar, pretty wide pillar too, um, but still a pillar. And then break it down into exclusive experiences, fine dining. You see how you can break that down, all pointing up to luxury travel. So if I am searching for something to do with luxury travel, these content clusters underneath can help support this story here. Family travel, kid-friendly activities, planning tips, safety guides, multi-generational destinations. Okay, big pillar, some subtopics to support it. That's what you're looking for. That's what you should be jotting down here. And you can always get more honed in on your pillars. They don't have to be as broad as something like sustainable travel. It could be sustainable travel in the United States. You know what I mean? All right, so Keisha, I'm glad you brought this back up. She said, "Where can I find images of people with disabilities and diverse groups?" Okay, Keisha had brought this up earlier, and this is a great time to talk about it because we are now in the pillar breaking down those content clusters. So, Keisha, you are asking a question that is it's a challenge. It is definitely a challenge. Now, I will say in the last 5 years, there is more imagery that you can find on the web to support diverse groups of people, people with disabilities. It's growing, but it is not as accessible as you would want it to be. I have found really good luck with a company called Envato, Envato.com. That is a creative source for royalty-free images that you can buy and use without and you have that permission. You're able to use it to sell your services. You can put it on your website, you can put it on social media. What I love about this Envato is they have some really polished professional stock photography, but they had acquired a company that used or that people with great Instagram photography would sell their images, and it can be you can find loads of destination images that look like social media posts, and is where you can find more diversity and including disabilities, people with disabilities. Again, it's not as prevalent as you would like. So if there is content that you can create, uh, that's going to make it very unique to you, most definitely. But that's really where you're going to get exactly what you're looking for. But Envato, I do know has a lot of content that you cannot find on other stock photography sites, and you're definitely not really finding it on the supplier sites. The only exception I would say that I've found is I find that Disney and their media library, they have done a great job of including more diversity and disabilities in that mix. They have a little, but again, that's very focused to them, and there's a lot of restrictions on how you can use those images. But I am glad that you asked that. Um, and Robin just added a link in on Facebook, but she said it's elements.envato.com. But if you do search Envato, you will find it. And Robert, I love when Robert chimes in because let me tell you, Robert is a very discerning individual business owner. He he is looking for the latest and greatest tips. In fact, he teaches me tips. He doesn't even need to be here, but today he's given me a TM for Envato, and he's going to bookmark it. So, yay, Robert! I gave you something, buddy. I'm so glad that you tuned in. Yeah. So check out Envato. Uh, I I pay for I wanna say I pay for a team plan, and so we use that for all of our images as a company. Um, I can't tell you the price of it. It's not cheap, but it's not as expensive as some of the other royalty-free, products, and the other thing I love about it is you have access to loads of things, PowerPoint presentation, templates, even video content, so there's a lot of options, there, but I do love the fact that they have that more social media style content in addition to the regular, more polished, stock photography. All right. Um, all right. So let's talk about using the pillars in your marketing. So plan your calendar, rotate through your pillars for balanced, fresh content across platforms. Okay. This is the beautiful thing. If you know you have 3 to 5 pillars, you can now take a template of a calendar and you can say, on Mondays, I talk about pillar content one. On Wednesdays, I talk about pillar content two. On Thursdays, I do pillar content 3, and then Saturday and Sunday is 4 and 5, okay? So, with that, I now have a calendar I can fill in, not just, "What do I do on Tuesday? Oh, it's National Hamburger Day," right? Let me make some content about that. Why? Does that hamburger content support one of your pillars? If it does, by all means, dive in. You might need to move your pillar structure around your pillar days of the week. But by having a calendar that you've mapped out just from a just on each on these days, I'm gonna do these, pillar and use pillar topics on these days. I now can figure out, do I have that content or do I need to make that content? Super, super helpful. If I already have that content and it's already aired or it's already been published months ago, a year ago, years ago, I can say, "You know what? That's a great time for me to repurpose that content." So, yay, bring that bring that in, and now you don't that week, you only have to do 4 posts, or videos, whatever you're doing, right? So, yeah, build your calendar or build the structure of your calendar, and then just plug in what you need, what you have, what you need to create. Now your pillars, right? You've got your pillars, but then you have these content clusters that then support those topics. Uh, f- just because you're saying this one is about luxury travel, or this day is about luxury travel, doesn't mean you're not doing content about your fine dining experiences. No, it definitely means you do, right? So it's not like every Tuesday you're talking about luxury. You are, because that's the pillar, but there's diversity in your content. So you see what I'm doing here? Make it easy. Create a system that you're not having to just like dream up a new idea every single month or every single day. You're able to plan it out. So create those topic clusters with your blog, with your website. Create hub pages with linked articles for comprehensive coverage. So I would take your pillar content, then break down what your content clusters are, and then make a hub page, one page. It could be a blog article, it could be a standalone page on your website that's about that content cluster, and then make sure within that page, within that copy on that page, you're linking out to your other pieces of content that support that idea. You're creating a massive web for your future customers to get lost in, and lost in a good way. They're just so happy to be there that they're consuming all the content. There's a place for them to go on your website. And when they are sold on who you are and what you do, that's when they come after, they make the connection to you and make it happen. Um, always measure and refine, repurpose that content, and always optimize for SEO. You're trying to get your content discovered, so you have to make sure that you're incorporating things that people are actually searching for. They're not just typing in the word France. They're searching for weddings in France. Whatever it is you do, they're searching for that. And that's what you want to make sure that you're building these pillars around and your content clusters around, making sure that people can find you and they want to consume your content. So content pillars. So here's South America guides. We've got a blog, top 10 adventure destinations in Peru. Think about all the linking you could do off of that. You've got a video, hidden gems of Chile's national parks. We've got another pillar of adventure travel tips. Beginner's guide to hiking in the Andes, a podcast on preparing for Amazon expeditions, sustainable tourism, how to travel sustainably in Ecuador. Look how specific this is. Think you're not going to get discovered by breaking up your topics like this? Yeah, you're wrong. You will. You will. Instagram eco lodges supporting local communities. Look at this. You're signaling sustainable tourism without having to put a label of sustainable tourism on that Instagram post. Very good. Packing and safety. Instagram packing checklist for Patagonia treks. Blog staying healthy during South American adventures. See, it's not. It's much more fun than you think it would be. So ideal pillars 3 to 5. You should see at least 5x on your organic traffic with using this approach, this pillar approach. 5x is not a guarantee, but I'm just saying 5x is better than 1x, right? Just saying. And this is a number I pulled from somewhere, but it feels good, doesn't it? Time saved. Being strategic about your work and content will pay off because you're not having to spend so much time thinking about what you're going to create. Now you have to create this content because you've said you were going to do it. It's part of your strategy. Now, if you need that compelling reason to get up in the morning, get out of bed, and create content, you have it because this is your strategy and this makes sense and this works. We know it works. The people who we follow and we stay engaged with on social media or we go to their blog, it's because we know who they are. We know we get good information from them and we don't hear them just banging on about one single thing. They've found clever ways to talk about that one single thing in a way that it makes me feel like there's more information I need to have. And you are the one to give them that information. You are the expert. It's all in you. It's absolutely all in you. But don't keep it inside you. You got to get that out. You got to signal what you sell and you have to do it today. All right, guys. I know I went a little bit over. I got into the topic. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have questions, if you want to talk about other things, if you want me to do a session on XYZ, let me know about it. Drop it in the comments. Me and our team we're constantly looking to see how we can help you win with your travel marketeering. Don't forget, you can join our Facebook group. I'll drop it on the screen there. Go to Facebook and search Travel Marketeers to find us. I'd love to have you there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day, and I will see you real soon. Take care. Bye.